Is Tesla stock a buy now? That's the question you have if you're here. And I'm going to break that down for you today. I'm going to give you some thoughts about the company. I'm also going to look at a chart and show you where the stock could go. Now, before we do that, I want to show you a history, the timeline of Tesla since when it was founded in 2003. It has a very interesting history, and I think it's important to understand that history as an investor. So is Tesla stock a buy now? Let's find out. Now, believe it or not, a lot of people don't know this, but Tesla was not founded by Musk originally. In 2003, the company was founded. This is before Musk and the IPO. But in 2004, Elon Musk invested $6.5 million into Tesla. By 2006, 3 years after it was founded, they secured $105 million in funding for pre-IPO. That same year in 2006, on July 19th, Tesla unveiled the Roadster. On August 2nd of 2006, Tesla and Musk revealed a master plan to move from coal to solar and produce affordable EVs. Now in 2007, we had the founders step down from CEO. Tesla cut its staff to lower its burn rate. It was burning a lot of cash. There were several times in the history of the company and the stock where it was in trouble and they faced bankruptcy. So he resigned and moved to the role of president of tech. Michael Marks became the CEO. So Elon Musk wasn't even the CEO of Tesla back in 2007 here, right? So 2008, the founder left Tesla and they narrowly avoided bankruptcy. Of course, 2008, 2010, we had the financial crisis. The first Roadster rolled off the production line February 1st, 2008. Musk took over Tesla on the brink of financial collapse. So this was in 2008 when Musk finally took over Tesla. That's 5 years after the company was founded, and they narrowly avoided bankruptcy in November of 2008. Then the founder, he sued Tesla, and the Model S was announced. So Tesla announced the Model S on March 26th, and then there was this libel slander lawsuit against Tesla claiming he was forced out of the company. Tesla gains $406 million US DOE loan that would be repaid in 2013 in May with $12 million in interest. Tesla's first time achieving corporate profitability was August 2009, and the lawsuit was dropped, and Tesla gets $82.5 million in funding September 2009. A lot of great companies were founded during that Great Recession, and Tesla wasn't necessarily founded, but it really had to survive through that, and there were some other competitors that went under. Tesla was able to make it, just barely. July 29th of 2010, Tesla filed the S-1 form with the SEC to initiate their IPO. So the IPO didn't happen all the way until 2010, 7 years after it was founded. Daimler gains 10% stake for around $50 million, which I didn't actually know until I started researching here. Toyota gains Tesla stake through $50 million stock purchase. A lot of people probably didn't know that either. So June 29th, 2010, Tesla debuts the IPO. The stock price then was $17 a share. Now, if you take an account for the stock splits, it was $1.59 back in 2010. So if you bought this stock in 2010 and you held it for 12 years, you've made a fortune on it, of course. Now, the stock ran really hard from that time, and now it's pulled back, and it's trading around $110 a share, and you're wondering, is this an opportunity or not? The Model S was introduced in 2011. It was a prototype with a 320-mile range. The stock price was $1.58. 2012, Tesla ends Roadster, launches Superchargers. So those have been around for over 10 years. In January, Tesla ceases production of the Roadster. Stock price was $1.52. They unveiled the Model X SUV. Stock price was then $228, almost a double. And September, Tesla launches supercharger stations in California. Stock price is $1.93. So it was very volatile. This is a penny stock. I used to trade this all the time as a penny stock when I was doing more day trading. I'm not really doing that much at all now. Tesla turns first quarter, and to back up, I've always been a long-term investor. I used 2% of my net worth to trade for a little while. Anyway, side story, I digress. So in 2013, Tesla turns its first quarterly profit, and the stock price was $3.72. In 2014, Tesla launches Gig Nevada and autopilot. So the Gigafactory in Nevada was opened in February of 2014. In September, Tesla builds first cars capable of including autopilot software. So this was quite a while ago. The stock price then was $18.61. 2015, it revealed energy products. The first Model X was delivered. Autopilot rolled out to customers. Tesla revealed the Power Wall and the Power Pack in April, delivers its first Model X in September, and launches Autopilot October of that year. 2016, Tesla announces Model 3, Solar City deal initiated. So in March, Tesla unveiled mass market Model 3, stock price $15.32. May 4th, Musk targets half 500,000 vehicles yearly in 2018, 1 million in 2020. Did he meet his promise there? Stock price $14.84. Tesla initiates Solar City deal in June of 2016. Stock price was $14.64. July that year reveals master plan part due with rooftop solar, market expansion, and so on. In August, Tesla debuted Autopilot 8.0 software. October, full self-driving FSD. And then November, Tesla closes Solar City deal, sparking lawsuits. There's lawsuits all through this. 2017, Tesla changes name, launches Model 3. So Tesla drops Motors from name. So it was Tesla Motors, dropped it to just Tesla. They launched the Model 3 in July of 2017. They announced a new Roadster and a Semi. This is November 16th, 2017. We still don't have those on the road, although I think they've delivered one to Pepsi or something like that. $16.62 on the stock price. 2018, Tesla reports losses. Twitter and SEC go crazy over Elon Musk's tweet. Now, Elon Musk owns Twitter, and there's a lot of drama, and it's part of the reason why the stock has sold off. And you can see on your screen here, there's delays in Model 3 production. SpaceX sends Musk's Tesla Roadster to Mars to test payload. The stock was $22. There's lots of drama and hype around this company, around Elon Musk. April 3rd, Musk announces Tesla doesn't require any more capital, so they're starting to turn the corner. And the stock started to kind of take off there, but there was a lot of people still saying that they were going to face bankruptcy. You can see they met their goal of Model 3 of 5,000 units per week in July of 2018. Tesla reports biggest loss yet, August 1st, 2018 at $20. By August 7th, so it went from August 1st at $20, it raised $5 a share on August 7th. Musk tweets that Tesla has funding secured to take Tesla private. Okay, more drama. SEC fines Tesla and Musk $20 million each, requires Musk to step down from Tesla board. You might not have known that either. 2019, so Tesla unveiled the Cybertruck, which we still have not seen yet, the Model Y, and the Giga Shanghai, China starts production. February 25th, SEC again, now filing contempt. March 3rd, they unveiled the Model Y. October 23rd, 2019, they started production in Giga Shanghai. So it's only been 3-4 years since they started building in China. And then they unveiled the Cybertruck in November of 2019. So 2020, Tesla breaks valuation records. Now we've got the pandemic. We've got a lot of traders that come into the name. It's really built up a cult fan base, not only for people that want to, buy the stock, but also, of course, buy a Tesla, vehicle, right? So Tesla breaks U.S. automaker valuation record at $86 billion. This is January 2020. In March, they delivered their first Model Y. Market valuation, $180 billion by June 10th of 2020. They unveiled their first 400-mile plus with Model S long range. Tesla turns full year's worth of profits. This is July of 2020. They announced a 5-for-1 stock split. I bought the stock in this period originally, somewhere before this. My first shares I bought in Tesla were where I kept them long would have been around this time. And I did a video like I bought $20,000 in Tesla stock or something like that. You can check it out on YouTube. It's an older video. They had that 5-for-1 stock split. The stock went absolutely bonkers. It went from $106 in July all the way to $235 in December of that year and landed on the S&P 500. They also had their FSD beta testing in October that year. Now you got 2021, stock's going really strong. So you can see here, it went from $66 in June of 2020, and you can see here it was $365 the end of 2021. So they announced that it will accept cryptocurrency, more hype and drama surrounding around that. He was on Saturday Night Live. He was the Doge father, pumping Dogecoin. First Model S Plaid delivered. Tesla hosts first AI Day. This is August 2021. They surpassed $1 trillion valuation at that point, and the stock price was $341. They moved their headquarters to Texas the end of 2021 to Austin, Texas. Stock price $365. Now we get to 2022 and things start to go the other direction. From $365 to $287, they faced racial discrimination lawsuit. They opened their Gigafactory Berlin. They opened their Gigafactory Texas. So they've got all this positive stuff going for them, but the stock has ran really hard, and there's also all this negativity that starts to swarm around the company. They cut 10% of salaried staff in June of 2022, and Musk basically said he expects a recession. California accuses Tesla of misrepresenting Autopilot and FSD. This was August of last year. Tesla 3-for-1 stock split happened August 25th, and then Tesla hosted second AI Day in September of 2022. And that brings us from there, then we have the Twitter drama, and that, the stock basically has dropped from 287 September to now beginning of January trading at $110 a share. So what's the valuation? What are the future metrics of the company? Is a recession going to destroy these guys? Was the stock just ahead of itself and we're popping the air out of it so it can basically start over and run up again? Or is it going to keep going lower? Let's look at the valuation metrics. Let's look at some of the production metrics, and then we'll look at a chart. So you can see the 52-week high was $402. 52-week low was $104.64. That was yesterday, $105. Market cap went from $1 trillion to $350 billion. That's, a huge drop, 70% type of a drop off the market cap. And the PE ratio right now is 34.41. Some people, when they look at forward PE, say that they're going to continue to grow and it's going to be in the 20s. Some people think that E is going to compress. And this stock is very polarizing. Musk is very polarizing. There's no question that Twitter has created pressure on the stock. And it's been a perfect storm of all these different things. Yesterday we saw there was a vehicle that went off a cliff and went down 250 feet. And people were on Twitter saying that, full self-driving drove itself off a cliff. We find out later that the dad actually did it on purpose and was trying to go off the cliff with his kids, sadly. And he was actually charged yesterday. And so it's one of those things that traders are going to latch onto this. It's being shorted and manipulated both directions. And it was really expensive, but now you look at it at $110 and say 34 PE ratio. Is the company going to grow? What's it going to be in 5 years? Let's look at this really quick on Twitter here. Now, before we go on, guys, I need to announce this video is sponsored by the Motley Fool. And if you'd like to see the 10 best stocks to buy now, visit fool.com/firedupwealth. A reminder, they don't tell me what videos to make, what to create. They allow me to make free content like this for you for free on YouTube. They're a great partner. Check those guys out. You can also join our private community in Fired Up Wealth. We also have a Discord. You can check out patreon.com/Fired Up Wealth. Let's look at this really quick on Twitter here. This was something I posted, and you can follow me at Fired Up Wealth. This is showing deliveries. So this is Tesla's 2022 deliveries. So the 2022 deliveries nearly matched their total for 8 years from 2012 to 2020. And people are saying that they missed on the expectations, but the growth was still really strong, 40% growth, 2,600 2012. And you can see how this ramped up. But they're at 1,313,851. Now, considering the macro environment, how hard it was to get those raw materials, I would chalk it up as a win. But I can also see where people are speculative, they're basically bearish in the stock, saying, hey, Elon's going to keep doing stupid stuff, and some people aren't going to buy Tesla cars anymore because they hate Elon. I can understand all the drama behind it, but I try to look at this as a long-term investor and say, will this company keep producing cars and selling cars? And that's the question you have to ask if you want to buy the stock. Because if you believe that Musk is going to drive it in the ground, and that basically his antics on Twitter are going to make more and more people not want to buy it, plus a recession is going to hit people's pocketbooks and not want to buy it, well, then, of course, you're going to be bearish in the stock. If you're a long-term investor thinking 5 years out, this could be an awesome opportunity. I shared my top 10 stocks just a couple of days ago on YouTube, and you can see some of the yield on cost. Like, for example, NVIDIA in 2018, everybody was selling NVIDIA. They were very bearish on NVIDIA. I kept buying it. It kept going lower. I kept buying more. Well, now I've got this bagger stock that's up very, a lot, hundreds and hundreds of percents, multi-bagger stock just in, 4 or 5 years. And even though it's come down from the highs, I'm still highly profitable on it. I've taken some profits. Will Tesla be another one like that, where it's out of fashion for 1 minute, but then a couple years later, it's back in fashion? That's what you have to decide as an investor. I would argue as long as they keep delivering, and maybe they'll have a downturn here in 2023 if we go into recession, but what's this company look like in 2025, 2030? That's what we have to answer. Right now, it's still trending up, that they're going to continue to make cars and sell cars. And if you believe that, it might be an opportunity to invest. Let's look at a chart and I'll show you the technicals of where the stock could go. Before we go on, guys, please do me a favor, subscribe to the channel and click that bell to get notifications. I'm trying to grow this channel to 40,000 subscribers. This is my third video in 3 days. I'm gonna keep bringing the fire as long as you guys are watching these videos. So subscribe to the channel. Please drop a like and drop a comment. Okay, so you can see back here, this is November 2021. It was $414. Even the beginning of, a year ago today, it was a $402 stock. And it's had pressure all year and it fell off a cliff. This is basically where Musk took over Twitter. He bought Twitter and all the what started hitting the fan. And this is just a nasty chart. And so you look at this, there's some different gaps in here. You can make an argument that it has to go down to $80. I'll show you some of the numbers here. So the RSI was at one point under 30. It was at 17. This is when it started getting closer to that $105 a share. Today it's at 111. I said expect more downside. Now this was when the stock was at $115 or something like that. And I also said short interest has fallen to about 3%, but possibilities if it breaks 116. So this is when it was 116. I said 114.50, 106, 98, 91, and 81. And a lot of people are going to tell you it's going to go to $80, and it could go to $80, but it doesn't have to. It got down to 104 and change, so it slightly broke this 106 mark. It held up the $100 level so far. The question is going to be, what happens when earnings come out? Are we going to see it drop down to 80? And it could. Now, one thing I'll tell you as a long-term investor, and somebody made this point today in Discord, and they're like, well, hey, if we think the stocks are going to lower, why don't we just wait and then we'll just buy them? Number one, you can't time the market. But number two, let's look at this from a long-term investor perspective. If you're a trader, you don't even have to listen to this because it doesn't matter. And I'm not going to convince you it's like oil and water. It's like politics. We're not going to agree. But if you pick the right stock, let's say, for example, you think Tesla is going to be $500 in 5 years. If you're a bear, you're going to laugh at that and say it's never going to happen. They're going to go bankrupt. But if you're a bull and you think that it could be a $400 or $500 stock in 5, 6 years, whatever, if you buy it and your time horizon is 2030 and you've got 7 years from now, you're not going to remember in 7 years if that stock's $500 if you bought it at 120, 110, 105, 90, 80, and you dollar cost in and you have $110, $115 cost basis. You're not going to remember or care that you didn't time the bottom perfectly. So there's two schools of thought. You DCA and you buy levels and you buy 114, 106. If it goes lower, you buy a little bit more and you fill out a position. Or you try to time it and say, I believe it's going to go to $80. I'm not going to touch it until it goes $80. And maybe you get lucky and you time that perfectly and it works out. But honestly, if it goes to $500, you're not going to care that much if you bought it at 81 or 110. It seems like a big number, and it is a big number right now. When you look at the percentages, you're talking about 20, 30%. But if you're thinking in a long-term horizon, when that stock is $500, if that happens, you're never going to look back. I don't look back at NVIDIA and say, my cost basis is 35, but I could have had a $29 cost basis if I wouldn't have bought this day or that day. That's the difference between a long-term investor mindset and someone who isn't. So for me, I look at this as if I think the stock is going to do well and be worth $400 or $500, then it's an opportunity to nibble some, but you know that it could go lower, that it could go to $81. If you're someone that wants to time the market, well, then you might be waiting for $81 or $91. If you're a trader, well, maybe you're not buying it at this level because you know there's more pressure and that's probably going to go lower. And if the market drops 20%, like a lot of the gurus and analysts are saying it's going to do in 2023, well, everything's going to get sold off hard, including Tesla, and it's going to break $100 at that point. But it doesn't mean it has to happen, and we don't know for sure it's going to happen. So if you're thinking long term, this might be an opportunity to add a little bit. Maybe not go all in, but it might not be bad. Again, though, it's not going to matter if it's a $500 stock someday. If you bought it at 110 or at 90 or at 80, you still made a lot of money. And that's just the mindset you have to choose which one you are. Are you a trader, are you an investor, are you a bear, or are you a bull? And that's the decision you have to make. And that decision is yours to make alone. So I appreciate your time and attention, guys. Please make sure you like and comment, subscribe to the channel, click the bell for notifications. I appreciate your time and attention. Have a great rest of your day. Take care.